What's up, everybody? I'm Richard.
And I'm Shawn.
And we are speaking the language of bromance. Shawn, today, here's the thing, Shawn. You're a new parent. Well, not new, but you're a newer parent, right?
I am. Yeah, it's about 2 years. So, yeah, I've got the little kiddo coming around, and he's walking, he's kicking me in the shins and hitting me with swords and saying curse words.
Does he say curse words?
He does. He says the mother all curse words, Richard.
Poop?
A little worse. He's dropping F-bombs, Richard.
He's dropping F-bombs?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And you know whose fault that is?
It's mine.
It's Tiffany's.
I think that's great. Don't you think that's great?
I mean, he's got a good vocabulary, and he
feel
pronounced
guilty about it.
Yeah, a little bit. I think at first it's kind of like, oops, that's my bad. But now that he's talking a lot more and he's dropping it like at the right time, like he'll drop something on the floor and he'll bust it out. You're like, yep, there's no hiding that. That's what he's saying.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Shawn, I am a seasoned parent, and I don't know if you know this, but as your child gets older, they'll get interested in things. And I don't know if I think it's a dad thing, but I think that you do your best to discourage your kids from getting into new things. You know why, Shawn? Because those new things cost you money.
It's expensive, yeah.
Everything costs money. They're like, hey, Dad, I want to learn how to dance. Hey, Dad, I want to learn how to play an instrument.
Hey, Dad, I want to play hockey. Hey, Dad, I want to play golf.
Yeah. And you know what? The first thing you're going to do, and especially this especially happens when your kids get into teenage years and you start thinking, because I would say about 11 or 12, you, Shawn, as a father, you start to reflect. Okay. You start to look back at your life and you go, how much fucking money have I spent on this goddamn kid?
Yeah, it adds up.
School stuff for school, transportation,
food, water, shelter, kennels,
toys. And so once they get to about 11 or 12, you're like, I've put in a considerable investment in this child. And I don't know if I want to put in anymore. And so from there until the time they reach adulthood, I think you just do your best to minimize risk of investment. And so when they come at you and they say, Dad, I want to learn how to play a guitar, and the first thing you're going to think is, fuck, now I got to buy a goddamn guitar.
Yeah.
How much are those?
Oh, guitars are expensive too, especially if you want a good one.
Yeah, they are, Shawn. You know why? Because I bought a guitar. I know how much they cost. Pain in the ass.
So how long has your kid been playing it?
He's been at it for, has it been a year? About a year, almost a year.
Is he still actually playing? Because see, that was the thing when I was a kid. It's like, I want to play guitar. You get a guitar for Christmas. Then you're not playing like Freebird after a week. So like, this thing's stupid.
Yeah, I was like that. He actually isn't. He's been really good about it. But to get there, Shawn, I had to buy the guitar. Then I had to buy lessons for the guitar. Ooh,
yeah. Those are probably about $100 a pop. Dad, listen to this. I can play Green Day. Get out.
Take your fucking trash with you. You're not my son.
My dad's an American idiot. Listen, you're not even making up. You changed one word.
Number one, you're copying his shit. Number two, it's not even good shit. What are you doing? So, Shawn, you would think that in the realm of, say, video games, okay, you would think that you might be somewhat safe from this terrible investment.
I mean, you're looking at what, $400 a pop for a console about every 5 to 6 years, $50 for a new controller, probably looking at 2-3 new games a year at $60 a pop. So you're looking at about $300-$400 a year investment.
Okay, but I mean, Shawn, it's you and me. Let's be honest with ourselves. You're buying the kid the console. You're not going to be on it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm that's the excuse. That's why you get the second controller and then you give them the one that's broke. Until they figure it out, but then that's kind of how you judge if your kid's smart or not. Because like if he's 18,
I cannot explain to you how many times like my kids would bug me when I'm playing a game, and so I'd take a dead controller, an unplugged controller, and just hand it to them. So that way they would just sit there and tap buttons and like be engrossed and leave me the fuck alone while I'm trying to play a game.
Is that how you judge? Like I imagine my kid, if he's like 18 and still doing that, I'm like, God, where did we go wrong?
Oh, he's going to have a job with his name on his shirt.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. You're absolutely right, Shawn. Far be it for me to disparage those with names on their shirts.
If it's the wrong name, that's when you have issues. Or your name on your shirt is Candy. Then, Dad... You got dad
everybody
issues.
At work calls me Bob. That's because that's what your name tag says. Well, it's not my name. Oh, shit. Now I got to pay for testing.
Guess I'm Bob now.
So like I said, Shawn, you would think in the realm of video games, there'd be some investment, but you can kind of justify the investment because you would say to yourself, oh, I could play that game. Or, I'll buy things under the guise that it's for him when it's really for me.
Yeah, you get mutual benefit out of that. I could see that.
Exactly. Yeah, I was going to say, your boys too. So you haven't really gotten to that point yet where you get to buy things for yourself and then lie to your wife and say it's for him.
Mm-hmm.
You buy the new video game console.
I've done that with some toys already. I mean, some of those cool action figures you get to play with, like Hulk and things like that. I mean, there's a little benefit for me on that too.
No, but buddy, we're gonna keep this. You know what would be super fun if we played with it in the box,
but not really touch it. Just look at it, and we'll pretend with our minds.
Yeah.
Hey, where are you going?
Okay, I'll put it on my shelf, and whenever you're ready to pretend, you come and find me.
Hey, Richard, how expensive is therapy?
You know what? I think in the grand scheme of things, I think it's probably cheaper than buying new toys. So,
yeah, worth it.
Right? Yeah, I think you're coming out ahead. So, Shawn, today's story is about coaches for a video game.
Oh, okay. Explain this to me. So, I'm playing the new Red Dead Redemption, and I'm having trouble with a level. So is this like the Nickelodeon call line? Like they coach you through a level and it costs $16 a minute?
You mean the Nintendo call line? The Nintendo power line? Where you could get on the phone with real Nintendo experts?
And they're like, no, when you go to jump, lift the controller up really quick. You'll get an extra few inches.
When you were 10 years old, did that not sound like the fucking greatest dream job in the history of dream jobs?
You mean you play video games all day?
What the fuck is a Nintendo expert, and what do I have? Whose fucking dick do I have to suck to be a Nintendo expert?
Well, first off, nobody, because that's illegal.
Yeah. Second, you're 10, so ew. Third, why is a 10-year-old talking like this?
4, where are your parents?
Yeah, Shawn, video game. So yes, this is the equivalent of getting on the phone with a quote-unquote Nintendo expert. What this is someone that you are paying by the hour, mind you, to sit down and coach how to play a game better. So the example I have here in front of me is Fortnite. Now, I will say this, Shawn. It's a free-to-play game. I've never touched it. I've never touched Fortnite at all. It sounded very intimidating to me, not in terms of the game itself or anything like that, but in terms of the learning curve and the community that surrounds it. It seems very, what's the word I'm looking for? Passionate. Let's go with passionate.
Yeah.
It's a very passionate community.
It's like a League of Legends type thing because it's like a big battle royale, right? Is it
It is. It's a battle royale.
Is it straight PvP or are you on a team?
No, it is straight PvP. You know, I think you can do teams up to, I think, like up to 4-man teams.
Yeah, that's so. You know, there's colleges now that are actually giving scholarships for
because
video games.
Because esports is a big thing. There's a lot of money in esports.
Yeah, I know some people played League of Legends, and they always talked about like what's cool about League of Legends is like when you get online and play, like you could potentially be playing with like a professional at certain levels. Like there's no way that I'm going to play basketball with LeBron James ever.
Right.
But if I got halfway decent, like I may be able to play against like a professional League of Legends player.
Well, especially like let's say you hop on like the Korean server, then you're playing with somebody that's been sitting there playing that game for hours and hours and hours. They have houses. They have houses where people just sit and play that game, and that's their life. Somebody's funding a 6-man team to sit in a house and play this game and practice for competitions.
You know, like you poke at that and be like, "Oh my god, nerds!" But there's baseball, basketball, like kid leagues that are exactly like that. Like there's kids and families that pay tons and tons of money for their kids to do like baseball year round or basketball year round because they think that's going to get them a scholarship. And we're talking like thousands of dollars a month.
Yeah. I mean, you don't really see when in terms of games and esports, you don't really see that in the States. You definitely see it in places like Korea, Japan a little bit. But yeah, like I said, I've never played Fortnite. That's what this story that I'm going to talk to you about is very centered around the game Fortnite. So like I said, I've never played it. I've been very intimidated to play it because it seemed like a very passionate community, and I'm really not in the mood to have a 13-year-old tell me that I need to go suck my dad's dick.
Yeah. That's what it all devolves down to, right?
Yeah. At the end of the day, everybody is just, yeah, well, fuck your mother. And you're like, what? Well, there it is.
All right, that's what we're doing now, mom jokes. No, just we're doing your mom. Oh, you guys are quick. You've been doing this a while, haven't you? Hey, I'm about to jump over this building. If I lift my controller up really quick, will that make me go higher? Sure, Grandpa. Hey!
Yeah, make your mom go higher.
That doesn't even make sense. I mean, my mom would go down. Oh, you guys are jerks.
And she did. Laura, they keep talking about you in this game.
I know, John. You should see my stats.
That's all they're talking about is your stats, Laura.
It's been years since I've seen your stats.
So this story. So first off, I would like to make it a point that the story I'm gonna talk to you about. This isn't from like IGN or some gaming website or some blog or anything like this. Shawn, this story's in the Wall Street fucking Journal.
Oh wow, so it's legit. It's not like old G4. Hey, guess what's weird in the world of esports? This is like, hey, Wall Street Journal. You guys want to invest some money in the future? Nerds. That's where it is. Nerd culture is like up on the rise. Next thing, esports. Buy yourself an E-League.
Yeah. Don't knock G4, by the way. That fucking television station was gold. Pure gold. It was a good one. I love that shit. Okay. So Allie Hicks fretted over her 10-year-old son. 10-year-old son. Let's pause there and think about that. Her 10-year-old son playing the hugely popular shoot 'em up game Fortnite.
He's like, he was 10 years old, but he was blowing the shit out of all these people. Yeah. You should see his smack talk.
Fuck your mother!
Go get him, Pokey Bear. Your mom sucks dick. Did you hear that, Mom? I sure did, Pookie Bear. Go get him.
Oh, God. Hey. Tell him their mother smells like fish. What does that mean? Don't worry, he'll get it.
They grow up so quick, don't they?
So it wasn't the violence or the amount of time she was worried about when she's talking about her son playing the game. She wasn't worried about the violence in the game because it is a battle royale. So basically the way for those that don't know what type of game Fortnite is, it's a battle royale.
It's very cartoonish too. Like it's not realistic like Call of Duty type stuff. It's just it's very cartoon.
Graphics wise, it has a very cartoony feel to it. So basically what it is it's a battle royale, which means there's 30 to 40 people on a map. I want to say it's 30, but I could be wrong and say it's as many 40 to 48 or 40 to 50. So they're put on this giant map, and basically the goal is to run around and kill each other until there is one person left standing. Now the way the map works is there is a fog that surrounds the map, and anything that's inside the fog, it's very poisonous and toxic, and it will eventually kill you. So as the game progresses, the fog gets starts to cover the entire map until around it. So basically the area that is safe to play in gets smaller and smaller and smaller
so
as time
get,
goes
the
on.
Action going. So if there's only 6 people left and it's a huge map, you could hide and the game could take forever.
Exactly. So the way they fix that is basically the playable area gets smaller and smaller. You can exist in this fog for a very short amount of time. It gets more intense in terms of damage that you take as the game moves on. So anyway, basically, like I said, it's like a King of the Hill thing. Last one standing, that's the person that wins. And what do you win, Shawn? Well, you win some cosmetic stuff,
bragging rights.
Yeah, bragging rights, stuff like that. The
mom joke of the game. Is that a badge? Like, if you have the most offensive mom joke, do you get a badge for that?
No, but you should. Because I think that requires more skill than playing the game.
That's true, especially while you're playing, you're doing 2 things at once.
Exactly. Yeah, while you're playing the game, then that sharp wit comes in, and then you're like, oh, fuck. He shot me and he burned me.
Oh, and now he's teabagging me, you son of a bitch.
I deserve this. Okay, so Allie Hicks is not upset about the violence in this game, which there is some. She's not upset about the amount of time that he's playing this game, which I'm sure is considerable. She was worried because of the result. Shawn, he was not winning.
Oh, you got to pump those numbers up, bro. What's the matter? We don't raise any losers in the Cornell house.
Yeah. He's like, hey, says Mom, look, I lost again. Why don't you get good, you fucking try hard, and pushes him out of the chair.
She's like, Mom. You're a big pussy like your mom. Mom, you're my mom.
So sad. Why would that be a worry? Let's start there. Why would that be a worry?
Yeah, why would you care? Is the kid having fun? Isn't that what the thing was? Video. I remember back in the day playing video games. If I got mad, I'd yell. I'd be like, ugh! And you know what happens in the other room? Shawn Michael, knock it off. Just a game. It's never made you feel better. It pissed you off even more.
Yeah, it did. And then you throw the controller down all pissed off.
Yeah. How many controllers have you ever broken? Have you broken any?
I have never broken a controller, although I will say that I was much more violent with my controllers when I was younger. But luckily, the controllers back then were a lot sturdier. Try and break a fucking Nintendo controller. I don't think it can be done. An original Nintendo controller, try and break that. I don't think it's possible.
I'd grab the sides and try to break it with just my hands, and you couldn't. It barely gives.
No.
Regular controller, a PlayStation 4 controller now, if you sit it down just right on a coffee table on Tuesday when it's 68 degrees outside, it just shatters.
Yeah, it explodes.
Yeah.
Could possibly burn your house down.
Yep, and then all of a sudden your phone pings and it's a new controller from Amazon for $60 coming to you. It's they know.
Yeah. Yeah. They're like, would you like to buy a new controller? Just scream yes.
Well, what's funny is at some point, somebody's like, holy shit, we can make a lot of money off these controllers. Because you remember you used to get 2 controllers with each console.
You did with when did they stop doing that? I want to say with
my PS2, I think had 2 controllers, so it would have probably been a PS3.
Yeah, that sounds right. It seemed like once they started going wireless, then they were like, "Oh, we can only afford to put one in there."
Yeah. Well, then they started doing the color, like different colors too. So you're like, "Oh, I got to get a red one." Oh, they got blue, and they always released those like a year after the new console came out.
Yeah. But no, I'm glad to say that I have never broken a controller in a fit of rage. We did have a friend. How many did he break over the course of his?
Oh God, he broke so many. It's like, and he played like Madden stuff too. So like it wasn't even like online. It's like he lost to a computer, and he would just destroy controllers left and right. I only broke one. It was in my dorm room, and in my dorm room we had like concrete floors. I think my roommate at that time had already kind of broken the controller because it was kind of popping off, and like whenever it vibrated, it didn't vibrate right.
No, Shawn, you broke it all on your own because you're a man, and that's what men do.
That's right. Well, I'm just saying it was already like not working correctly, so I lost, and so I just took it and threw it right against the floor as hard as I could, and it exploded. And I was like, "Oh, now I feel good." And I got up and stepped on a piece and cut my foot, and instantly regretted it.
I will say there is something to be said for smashing something. I do remember that I never broke a controller, but I've broken a keyboard in anger.
From a video game or from like when Pornhub went down?
Okay, so I've broken 2 keyboards. One in each. No, the first time, or the one time I did break my keyboard. The only reason I did it was because I had a spare keyboard.
Oh, so you kind of knew.
I kind of knew that it was okay to like smash it to pieces because I knew I had a spare. And so I was sitting there and I was playing this game and I got super pissed off and I grabbed it and just like went to and like just held it on the corner of my desk and just smashed, and little plastic keys went flying everywhere.
And Amanda's in the other room. Richard, it's just a game.
Sorry. No, you know what, Shawn? Actually, that was quite satisfying.
Well, I think if you
like getting rained on by little pieces of plastic because of from your rage, like it, and maybe it was just because I knew I had a spare, but like it felt really good.
Yeah, I think when you break things in a fit of rage that you kind of need, then you're like, that was kind of dumb, wasn't it? But if you break it knowing like you've got a backup, like you were planning on throwing that away anyway, like it definitely makes it feel better and okay.
Yeah. I think so. Basically, what you're saying is we just need a way to freely destroy things without consequence.
Yeah, there was actually this I don't remember what they called it, but it was like a destruction room where they had like TVs and plates, and you go in with like
I've
a
heard
bat.
Of those.
Yeah, and you just destroy the shit out of stuff for like 10 minutes.
That'd be fun.
It would be fun. Until like you realize like it's like you go into your mom and dad's house and do it, and they're like, "What are you doing?" Like, "This is the best destruction room ever." Like, no, this is our house.
She looks like my mom. Can I hit the people too?
Whack whack. Oh, it sounds like my dad. Wait, you can't take. Ow! Ow! I'm paying for this. You can't. Ow!
This is my destruction room.
Laura, how much is therapy? Because we need to start paying for some.
Smash this fucking controller over his head, Laura.
Oh, look at those stats, Laura. Those are terrible stats.
Not as good as your stats, know what I mean, Laura? So Allie Hicks hired her son a coach. For about $50, Miss Hicks purchased 4 hours of online lessons from a player she found through a freelance labor website. So basically, she found somebody off Craigslist.
Wow, that's actually a pretty good coaching deal. I mean, it's only like $15 an hour.
So for $50, 4 hours of online lessons. Like, and this is on Craigslist. But you know what? And on like when you think about it, like think if you're the dude like charging, like that's got to make sense because you're playing the fucking game anyway.
Yeah. Well, no, I just imagine like that was like the dude shows up. He's like, "I'm here for the video game teaching," and like a 10-year-old kid, he's like, Here's my kid. Can you teach him how to be better at Fortnite?
Yeah, let's go to my house.
This is awkward. And he just sits there and plays. So it's like, what do you do for a living? I'm a gigolo. What's that? Well, I was thinking he shows up and he's confused. Like, he actually showed up thinking he was going to be a gigolo for a wife or a woman, and realizes, like, so you're actually wanting somebody to play video games.
Laura, that's not his coach. That's supposed to be your coach.
I don't know, John. Have you seen my stats? They're out of this world.
That's what everybody says on Fortnite.
They call me by my name, Mom.
So for many children, Fortnite has become a social proving ground. More than 125 million people play it worldwide. According to its maker, mostly in a free mode, pitting... Oh, sorry, Shawn. It's 100, pitting 100 combatants against each other until one person or team is left standing.
Those games sound super fun. Like, I wish I had the time to sit down and play those. Or maybe not the time. I wish I wanted to do it enough to make time to play it.
Even if you were bad at it?
I mean, I think that's something like if you played it enough, you'd probably get at least decent.
Yeah, but I guess what's enough?
Like 20 hours a day.
They say 10,000 hours makes you a master.
Yeah, I mean, I know some people have played League of Legends and they played like 3 to 4 hours a night.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, if that's all you do, if that's your passion.
Yeah, that's true. Winning bestows the kind of bragging rights that used to be reserved for local Little League baseball champ. Just like eager dugout dads opening their wallets for pitching lessons, video game parents are more than willing to pay for their offspring to gain an edge. Like, okay, here's the thing, and here's my issue. Here's the issue I have. When you're talking about something like baseball. Now, okay, first of all, I'm like, disclaimer here. I'm not going to say that esports and there's an esports and then there's regular sports. I say this with air quotes, regular sports. I feel like they're both on equal footing. Okay, I do.
They're both a skill. Yeah,
exactly. They're both a skill that anybody, if given enough time and practice, can get good at.
Some sports. I mean, I don't think that just anybody can make like the NBA or the NFL. I mean, you got to have a little bit of genes there. Like, you got to be like 6 foot, 4. 350 pounds.
I didn't say get in the NFL. I just said get good.
Okay.
Anybody is capable of doing. While yes, I will agree. Like, not everybody can play Major League Baseball. I think that that anyone given enough time and training can be good at baseball.
You're talking at like a young age. Like, it's kind of like you take a kid at 4 years old, and you start putting in like tens of thousands of dollars a year into making them play baseball, they could be good at it. I could get behind that, yeah.
Okay, so I'll say that right there. But here's the difference I feel when it comes to paying for a pitching coach and paying for a Fortnite coach. Number one is that you're going somewhere for the pitching coach because a baseball game is kind of a thing. Like, it's kind of a big deal, right? There's two teams that had to drive to a location to have this baseball game, and you're sitting there and you're playing the game. It takes a good, decent chunk of time, and then at the end, if you win, if you lose, you get a trophy, whatever. Okay, if you're talking about just getting good at Fortnite, you're talking about a game that lasts 20 minutes, 25 minutes. That you're sitting in your house and you're on your computer, and if you win, it's amazing, and you move on to the next game. More than likely immediately after, or you lose and you go, oh, that sucks, I'm going to try again, and then you go and you play immediately after.
What's the difference? I think with like Fortnite and stuff, you just get more repetition. I mean, you play one game of baseball, that's like an hour and a half. So
you think one game of baseball lasts an hour and a half? I would think it'd be longer.
Usually like little league stuff, it's usually like an hour and a half. I know like I think they've changed it. When I was younger, like we had like a 50-minute time limit for our games. So once we got to 50 minutes, they said, nope, you're done. Some of the leagues now, I think they play a full 7 innings, so they're about an hour and a half to 2 hours at the most.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go from there. My second point is that while esports is and should be considered, on the same level with, say, football or NASCAR or Major League Baseball, you don't see there isn't a lot of high school Fortnite teams. They don't have a high school representation of the Fortnite team.
Yeah, but I think that's just because we haven't got like the thing yet. I mean, they've got like esports in high schools and in colleges for sure. And I think it's just like if you had like League of Legends was kind of that. It was the thing for a good couple of years, but here comes Fortnite and something different. So now League of Legends is kind of dying off, maybe not dying off, but it's kind of more in the back burner. So like baseball's baseball, basketball's basketball.
Yeah. Yeah, but when you're talking about esports, you're talking about something that's constantly evolving and changing. There's there's always a new game. There's always something coming up. So the question is, you can't I haven't seen in the newspaper about the local high school esports meet.
Yeah, but there was a time where there weren't like football teams in high schools, and it started gaining traction. I think that's something very similar to this. I think the problem why you probably don't see it like right away now is just because there's just so much stuff to do, and these kids can do this at home. So there's not an investment that the school kind of picks up to put on these things yet. But you're starting to see colleges, and if you start looking at like some of the actual sports with head injuries and stuff like that, where kids aren't playing those as much, you're probably going to see schools start to cut back on those. And you could do an e-league where it's a lot cheaper, a lot safer, and
using computers that you already probably have in the building.
Probably, yeah, because I'm sure some of these kids probably have better rigs than what the school would.
Yeah. So let's see. There's pressure not to just play it, but to be really good at it, said Mrs. Hicks. She's a project manager from Winchester, England. You can imagine what it was like for him at school. Rob hope his friends don't find out how he upped his game. They'll think I'm cheating or something. That's how 10-year-old kids work. So now the kid's worried that other people are going to find out. He's like, hey, can we do, the kid's 10 years old. He's like, can we do anonymous names? So that way my friends won't find out.
Well, I think that's weird because, what kid doesn't, if you get a baseball, you pay for extra coaching from a baseball or basketball or any sport, I don't think that's looked down on. It's just like, I think that's probably just jealousy. It's like, oh, your parents spoil you, and that's the only reason you're good. If I got, it's kind of like the old, high school guy who's like, oh, if a couple things went my way, I would have went D1 and would have been the starting quarterback, and I would have had all the girls, and I would have went NFL first round pick draft, and I would have made jillions of dollars, and I would have been the next Dan Marino.
And I wouldn't have gotten Tammy pregnant.
But damn, she was fine. It's like, thanks. Can I get 20 on 12, please?
So the kid's worried that he thinks that his friends are going to find out and that he's going to call it cheating. So there's that. So until recently, people seeking help with video games almost exclusively were adult hobbyists and older teenagers aspiring to go professional. According to businesses that contract with coaches, now these businesses are hearing from parents who refuse to let their elementary and middle school aged children fall behind.
Well, we talked about it earlier. What if your kid loves the competitiveness of these games? There's skill to it. You can go to college for it. It's no different than being obsessed with a real sport or obsessed with playing guitar or obsessed with gymnastics or any of those things. It's something that they enjoy. And I think that's the stigma we're starting to get over. It used to be, it's like, oh my God, you've been playing that game for an hour. Go outside and do something.
Yeah, I'd be upset. I'd be upset if my son was better than me at a game or something like that.
Really? Why is that?
You know what? I think it's the whole alpha pack mentality. Like, I have to be better at everything than him. Otherwise, who's in charge?
So I take it you haven't listened to his new podcast or seen that it's number 1 on iTunes?
No. That's okay. I'll play Fortnite and I'll kick his ass and I'll be like, hey, I fucked your mother.
Well, what happens is you go to kick his ass and he chokes you out. You're like, wait a second. No, Amanda.
Richard, I fucked your mother.
How'd you get so strong? Weight training, Dad. You should look into it. Oh, you son of a bitch. Don't talk about my mother that way.
I think we had this conversation today. I was like, I know you think you're stronger than me. He's like, no, I know you're stronger than me. I was like, well, it won't be like that forever. He's like, yeah. I was like, oh, yeah. I was like, eventually you're going to be stronger than me and faster. He's like, you sure? I was like, yeah, but don't worry. I'll still kick your ass because I'm not above fighting dirty. I will totally kick you square in the nuts. And not even think twice about it, and then tell you I fucked your mother. I didn't say the last part,
but you thought it, and that's the point.
Yep. Because it's gonna come, Shawn. The day is gonna come where he's gonna be better than me.
Yeah, I'm already used to that. I'm not my dad, so I know I can't take my dad right now. But my kid will probably be 8 and choke me out.
Boy, goddamn it, go to your room. And then your son's like, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep. Shh, go to sleep.
And take the credit card and party at my house.
Woo, kegger.
Is that your dad passed out on the couch? Yeah, I did that.
Okay, so when it comes to paying somebody to teach you how to be better at a game, I think the reason that it seems like something I wouldn't do is just because it seems like such a low. It seems like an activity that you could essentially get better on your own, and it's easier to overcome the learning curve than it is. So if I want to learn how to pitch better, if I want to learn how to, be better at the bat, then I need somebody to throw me a ball.
Yeah, I mean,
I need some.
I think you could probably make it more like basketball, where you're shooting, where it's something that you could do by yourself. So, you could get better at shooting a basketball and dribbling and doing all those things. But if you have somebody there, I think you could overcome some of those. Oh wait, no, if I do it this way, I can cross over better. But if you have a coach there, you might be able to learn that quicker, and you start, you can get ahead a lot sooner.
Well,
and that's
very much. The other thing I was going to say is, I think that. If you want to watch a YouTube video on how to play basketball better, I think that it doesn't translate as well as somebody posting a video that says, hey, this is how you can play Fortnite better.
I don't know. I guess I kind of see it as almost the same thing. I mean, you would learn strategies, I think. You could watch videos on all the athletic things and pick it up, I think, just as good as you could a video game. Because you're going to learn strategies. You're going to learn, and I think a lot of it's
like the meta of the game.
Yeah, and I think if you have a coach there, they can see your mistakes. And I think that's what a lot of coaching is correcting your mistakes, where it's oh, okay, let's look at the video. See, when you went behind here, you went for the apple grenade, you really should have went for your M16. And you see that little gopher over there? Yeah, you should have stepped on that, because then you get a superpower. And then with your controller, when you jumped, you should have lifted it really high, because then you would have got 2 more inches. Does that actually work? No, but it makes me feel better.
True story. So Nick Memon was happy to pay $20 an hour for his 12-year-old son to take Fortnite lessons. The dad is already dreaming of a scholarship or at least some tournament money. And then in parentheses here, they have Fortnite creator Epic Games recently pledged $100 million in tournament prizes. Some colleges court gamers with financial incentives to join their varsity teams.
Dude, that's what I'm saying is like that's exactly like what like baseball parents and basketball parents they shill like thousands of dollars a month. Like there was just a story about this. Like literally like you're spending like 20 grand a year for your kid to do these traveling leagues and to get this coaching in hopes that they can get a scholarship to college and go pro. Richard, I think gaming, the odds might be a little bit better. I'm not sure. But do you know the odds of making it professional in any sport is like 1% of 1%?
I believe it. I'll tell you what, though. Have you ever watched like an actual pro gaming match? I used to watch a lot of pro level StarCraft 2.
Okay.
And it was fucking ridiculous how not just fast in terms of, typing keys and clicking your mouse and moving your mouse and knowing, hotkeys and, binding things to hotkeys really quick, and you're able to switch back and forth really quick. Not just that, but just the speed in terms of strategy, like how quickly you can come up with a strategy, come up with a counter to something, like the speed that has to happen is insane.
Yeah, I think that comes from a lot of, I think that's like where you talk about sports, like there's some like just, born abilities that you're good at these things for whatever reason, genes, higher power, sacrifices to, Satan. I don't know.
Oh, Satan.
I wasn't good at sports.
Dad only killed 2 goats.
But the same thing with these esports. I think you have something already there. There's a potential, and with repetition, coaching, continuously playing, like like you said, the 10,000 hour thing. You start become somewhat of an expert at it, and you get better. And I think in a lot of those things, it's like practice. When like you see this scenario unfold in front of you, you're like, oh wait, I know how to do this. I got to hit X, Y, Z, step on that thing, take my controller. When I jump, lift it up in the air really quick, and then I get 2 more inches on my jump.
Noble used to win Fortnite infrequently before he began taking about 6 hours of lessons a month. Now he'll throw down 10 to 20 wins, said Mr. Menon, who's a software developer in Cedar Park, Texas. The success has made his son competitive with his dad. I should be the one charging him. He's not as good as me.
The dad
saying
son
that? Talking. No, the son said that. He's not as good as me.
And then his dad quickly unplugged the computers like, hey, good luck playing your game without electricity, asshole.
By the way, I fucked your mom last night.
Yeah, I know. I could hear it was the quickest 10 seconds of my life.
I hate you so much. Get out of my house. Actually, it's my house now, Dad. Mom and I decided. This is my new dad.
He was my Fortnite trainer.
He was my Fortnite coach.
Oh God, this is the swim coach thing, but in like modern times.
Oh God, how bad would you feel then? Like if it was the yoga instructor or, a dude in like your wife's fitness class, that'd be one thing. But it's like your son's Fortnite coach.
Yeah, it's Todd, the Fortnite coach. He's like, come on, Brian, don't make a scene. He's really good with his hands, Brian.
Every time he comes, he says, winner, winner, chicken dinner.
You should hear his dirty talk.
Coaches can be found on social media or through contacting sites such as Gamer Sensei and Bidvine, which said it has hired out more than 1,400 Fortnite coaches since early March. Some coaches can't believe parents want to sign up their children for lessons. Hiring a Fortnite coach for a child is no different than enlisting an expert to help a child excel at basketball or chess, parents say. Some sit in on lessons to make sure coaches are professional and that their children will level up. Like, motherfucker, I'm paying for this. I want to see some results.
I feel like that's where you get to a situation where you're not really, like, this is more for the parent than the kid.
Yeah.
Like, it's the kid that you put through all the sports stuff because it's the same thing. It's like, I would have went pro, so my kid's going to go pro. It's like the scene from Varsity Blues where what's his face? What's the dude from Fast and the Furious?
Vin Diesel?
No, the blonde dude that was in Varsity Blues. Not Vanderbeek. Anyway, whatever his name is, he's like the star quarterback, and his dad was like wanting to push him. And he got hurt in the game, and his dad's like, "Oh my God, my son!" He's like, "Don't do this to me." It's like, oh yeah, because your son just got his knee blowed to pieces, and it's about you. Yeah,
that sounds skeevy.
Yeah, and that's where you gotta be careful, because then your son starts singing Green Day, and it's like, my dad's an American idiot. Stop singing that song. You don't know my pain, old man.
Did you fuck my mom? No, because she left. Oh, damn it, he's right. Dale Federley, a software engineer in San Jose, California, signed himself up for Fortnite lessons a few weeks ago so he could play alongside his two sons, Joel and Elliot, who are 11 and 6.
So he's trying to get caught up. I mean, I could see that. If you're a guy who, you work at 8 to 5 and you don't have the time to sit down and play, if you can kind of get a little leg up on like, oh, here's how it works. It's basically like we said, it's like the Nintendo hotline, but it's face to face.
In his case, he said the children wanted no part of the coaching.
Like, no, we're good on our own, Dad.
Coach.
Look at our stats.
I feel like taking lessons was over the edge. I don't want said Elliot, who's the 11-year-old. Now he's reconsidering. I don't want my dad to be better than me. Each Sunday night, JD Giles and his 10-year-old son look forward to their lesson with a coach they know as Convertible. Mr. Giles initially sought lessons for Blake as a birthday gift, and then he got hooked. So this is father and son taking lessons together.
That's kind of cool. I mean, it's kind of
cool.
It's no different than like I've always wanted to play guitar, and if my kid wants to pick it up, I'd be like, hey, why don't we go learn together? Like that'd be kind of neat. And I'm sure he'll be like, my dad's an American idiot. Like, no, that's Richard's kid's song. You knock it off.
And then I hit him with the guitar.
My dad walks the broken dreams, or whatever that fucking Green Day song is.
Mr. Giles' 13-year-old daughter Morgan says it's kind of cool and weird at the same time. She dislikes how her dad screams with delight whenever he wins a match.
That's when he finishes. He's like, "Suck it! Woo! Your mom sucks.
Who's a badass? Who's a badass? I fucked your mother. I fucked your mother. We have the same mom." Do you? Wait, what?
It's just, Bird, it's just a game. Fuck you, this is life.
Some parents set a low bar for success. Not dying in the first 2 months would be nice, said Adrian Luff of San Marcos, Texas. He gets it when his sons age 7, 9, and 11 grow frustrated. He gets that way too and thinks his lousy track record is doubtly embarrassing since he works at Amazon.com's live streaming service where top Fortnite gamers show off their chops. So he's saying this is the guy that works at Twitch. And he says his sons kick his ass in Fortnite.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, what do they think, like, during the summer these kids are doing? They're playing all damn day. No
shit, right? Oh, my God, that's all. My son has been doing that all damn day. Like, he spends all damn day playing games.
See, I could never get into that. My issue would be, like, I'd be waiting all day to either play a game or watch something. And right when it was about to start, like, that's when my parents would come in and be like, hey, you've been sitting around doing nothing. Why don't you go mow the lawn? I was like, why don't you go mow the lawn? What was that? Nothing, Dad. You're still bigger than me.
I gotta go mow the lawn.
And then mow the other lawn. And mow more lawns. I'm going to do a lot of work outside. Bye.
The three boys, all of whom have had Fortnite coaching, have won matches, and Mr. Luff has not. He says that's okay because he clings to the hope that one day one of his sons will go pro.
I always feel, I think you, as a father, like, I see, like, whenever, like, guys make it to the big leagues, like, their dad's front row, and, like, that's got to be, like, a super emotional thing. Like, that's got to be a cool feeling.
Yeah.
But like, if you say, like, would you want your son to play professional baseball? I'm like, yeah, sure, if that's what he wanted to do. Like, I'd be super proud. But
exactly, if that's what he wanted to do.
Yeah, and that's not going to be my goal, is to push him to do that.
Right.
That just gets kind of icky.
I completely agree. Yeah. It gets into that territory like, am I the Varsity Blues dad?
Exactly.
I think I'm the Varsity Blues dad.
Well, and what sucks too, like nowadays, like you have to get into some kind of, program that you're spending tons of money. Like there's the AAU for basketball. There's like I think it's called like Perfect Pitch for baseball, and football I think has something too. But it's all these like extracurricular type things outside of schools that you have to pay tons of money to get your kids in. Couldn't do it. What happens if your kid's like, Dad, I want to be a professional podcaster? Be like, me too.
Yeah. And then I'd cry a lot. I'd come at, you know what had happened? I would come at him in the middle of the night like fucking Jacob Marley trying to talk to Scrooge. Like, don't wear this. This is the microphone cord of all your previous podcaster sins. You forge them in life and wear them in death.
What would be worse, him asking you that or being like, Dad, I want to be a professional podcaster just like you? Oh. You still have higher faith in me than I have in myself.
And you always have, son. You always have.
I walk a lonely road, the only road that I have ever known.
Oh, shit. Dad, is that Green Day? You said you hated Green Day.
I do. I sing it when I'm about to take a toaster bath.
It's become my mantra. So, Shawn, that's the end of that. Apparently, parents are paying for Fortnite coaches. You are actually way more fine with it than I thought you would be, because I'll tell you what, between your childhood and my childhood, you were way more an active kid than I was. I did karate for 1 year. I played an instrument for 1 year. And then I wrote for my high school newspaper. That was the extent of my extracurricular activities in life.
Yeah, I mean, I played saxophone from 5th grade through high school. I played baseball forever. I played basketball for a bit, but I played my freshman year of high school, which I did okay. I mean, I had a couple games where I scored like 20 points, which was pretty good.
Wow.
But like my sophomore year, like, the kids were making fun of me for some reason, because that was going to be the last year I played, and I was like, well, fuck you guys, I'm not going to play then. So that kind of cut it out. But yeah, I played baseball, and I was probably decent enough that there's like baseball has a big thing in the Midwest where it's like Legion ball, where it's I guess like the American Legion puts in like a league for the summer. And there's wooden bat leagues, and I really always wanted to play in one of those, like during the summer, but never got the chance to. But like those are things that are like, those cost like $100 to get in the league, right? So it's not like it's thousands of dollars or extra coaching.
So let me ask you this: would you pay for your son to have lessons in a Fortnite game, for example?
I mean, it depends on it. Like I always am a little like, I want them to be able to try anything they can, but it's the whole idea of like, oh, well, I want to play guitar. If you go out and buy a guitar, they play it for a week. Like, yeah, I changed my mind. Like, I really want them to find something that they are invested in. It's like, oh, this is something actually I really, really like. But then you got to let them try a few things out to figure that out. But if they really liked Fortnite or esports and they were good enough at it that I felt like they could use coaching or would help them, sure, why not?
Mm-hmm. Would you now with like for example, with a game, this is something you could also do yourself. So would you like take the lessons with them or get lessons yourself or play with them? Or because when you think about it, I think this is going to become the future of playing catch. Hey, Dad, let's go play catch.
Oh, good call. Yeah.
Like your son's going to be like, hey, Dad, let's go play catch. But now he's going to be like, hey, Dad, let's go fucking play PUBG.
If you plug it in, they will play. What was that? Oh, God, the corn's talking to me.
Oh, God.
No,
Dad, did you take your meds?
I mean, my dad didn't play video games that often, but like I remember playing catch with him when I was younger and loved that. But I remember the one time he came into my room when I was in like my senior year of high school, maybe, and he came and sat down and played like Tiger Woods golf with me. And he took interest in it for even just like an hour, which was really, really cool. that's the only time we ever.
My dad was like the proto nerd, so he actually would get into stuff, and I would have to like hurry up and follow him.
I gotcha.
So like EverQuest, World of Warcraft. He'd be like, he would come to me and say, "Hey, have you played this fucking World of Warcraft? It's pretty good." And this is like vanilla WoW. This is before any expansions. This is when the game itself had just been released, just the sole solitary game. Like he would come to me and be like, "Hey, you should start playing this. This is pretty good." And then like 3 months later, he'd be like, "Hey, go ahead and clean up with me." "Oh God, you're such a noob."
Like, Dad, it's like, I fucked your mother.
Like, "Fuck you, Dad." He's like, "I fucked your mom last night." And I'm like, "God damn it."
But see,
this is why I don't do this shit with you anymore.
But see, I think that's the right way to do it. Like, your dad was like, "Oh my gosh, you could be a professional WoW player." I think it's whenever you see parents, I think, even if they don't say it, they think like, "Oh, this is my meal ticket." Instead of like, "Oh, this is something my kid likes." Maybe they'll be good enough to do it. That'd be awesome for them. But that it just got to, like I said, it gets in that icky zone where it's like, yeah, you get a scholarship, then you go pro, then I can work for you and you pay me money because you're my kid. Like, oh, dude, you're going down the wrong path.
I'm your dad. You're my cash register. Ching, 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 take the money. Oh.
But I mean, yeah, if it's like, hey, my kid likes this, and like, Dad, you suck. I'm like, I know, but I just like hanging out with you. Like, you probably wouldn't say that, but like the kid will grow up and realize like, oh, well, that's why Dad always wanted to do that stuff with me. He sucked at it, and his only comeback was, I had sex with your mom last night, which was kind of inappropriate.
It was true. He showed me pictures, and I was like, "That's really inappropriate."
But would you? So if your kid like showed interest in that, would that be something you would?
My kid does show interest in video games, but I will say it seems like he gears more towards, he likes single player. Like he plays the shit out of Skyrim and Fallout and the Arkham games, and He likes Diablo. He's a big fan of like a single player experience, which I find like really super rare in this age of, battle royales, and I game online more than he does.
Yeah, the only time I've tried it, I've never like been very successful, and it's very much like, there used to be a game called Mag that I played all the time, which was like it was kind of like the first battle royale where you're like team Call of Duty, like capture the flag type thing. And it got to the point where I had to turn off the volume and stuff because of the conversations, and I wasn't that good. So it was just like, this isn't fun. Like, and that's kind of why I kind of navigate towards like single player games, because it's self-contained and I don't have people making fun of my mom.
I will say that like, in the whole history of online gaming, I have only ever had one experience where somebody deliberately called me out and said I was doing a shitty job.
Oh, I gotcha.
It's only happened once. And to be fair, I wasn't doing a shitty job. And I had other people on my raid team that would attest to that, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, my only experience with that was like in WoW. I picked something up that I guess my character didn't necessarily need, and the guy in our party said, "Well, I'm staying here and not moving until you give it to me." And so I was like, oh, "Okay, here you go." Like, I guess I was the jerk in this, but as I talked to people, it's like, no, that dude was being the D-bag.
Yeah. Well, fuck that guy.
I know. If you're listening right now,
fuck his mother.
All right, Richard. Well, as we're kind of bringing this esports into halftime, what's your Richard's closing thoughts?
Maybe playing Fortnite is going to become the new catch. So to all the dads out there, don't discourage what your children like. Find a way to be part of it. That's wholesome. Wasn't that nice? That was nice.
All right, well, let me do a little bit of housekeeping as we get ready to join our Fortnite League. Visit our website. We're at languageofbros.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at languageofbro. Email us at eatthebeaver at languageofbros.com. Check out the LOB Army Intelligence Reports. And speaking of Twitch streams and everything, we've got a new Twitch stream that we're adding to our LOB Army Intelligence Reports, and that is Dutch Masters 99.
Yeah.
And Richard, you have a Twitch stream too that you've been playing on, right?
I do have a Twitch stream. Yes. I haven't been messing with it a lot. You and I have done a couple streams on it. I'm hoping in the near future that I can have my office set up a bit better, that I could accommodate a nice sounding stream. So fingers crossed, here's hoping.
To are coming soon, you could say.
Yes. Under construction. That's what I'll say.
And remember, you can always like us on Facebook. And if you really want to help us make this podcast go to new heights, and as we get closer to our 5th year anniversary, kind of help us spread the word, go out and recruit somebody for the LB Army. So just get somebody a friend, somebody that you think would love this podcast, and just tell them, hey, check out this podcast, take their phone and subscribe them on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and Spotify.
Because the best form of marketing is word of mouth. So we need you people to move to start saying words of mouth.
Just go up to people. Words of mouth. Did my part.
Yeah. Words of mouth. Oh, I've contributed. And leave a rating and a review. Those are also helpful. That's your word of mouth on the internet.
Yeah. And remember, we're always part of the Pod Bros Network, the E-League Extraordinaire Podcast Network.
Nice. I like it.
And if you also want to go a little bit further, you can join our LB Army like LB Army member Wendy and join our Patreon account. It's www.patreon.com/languageofbromance.
Wendy helps us fly.
All right, Richard, was there anything else before I close her out?
No, I have shit to do. I have games to play.
All right, well, that's all the Bromance we have for this show. I'm Shawn.
Yeah. And I'm Richard.
And I say we the beaver. See what I did there? Like esports.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, I ate your mom's beaver last night. Fucking noob.
Oh.